So this beginner lesson is on the main riff to Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. This is one of those go-to riffs that I love to show my beginning guitar students because it gives us a chance to take that beginning basic fretting technique that we talked about with the single note stuff that we did with those 3 warm-ups and then the pentatonic scale and apply it to a simple chord shape. So the simple chord shape is going to be what we all guitar players kind of refer to affectionately as a power chord. And the reason why it's called a power chord is because it's very consonant and it sounds great with distortion, so it sounds big and powerful, so thus the name. Alright, let's dig in. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to worry about just your first finger the whole time as we play all of these notes. We're not going to worry about the other finger that I had going on, playing the little power chord shape that we're going to be working on. So the first thing that we're going to do is just go over the frets that you're going to play to kind of create the melody, almost like we're playing the song like a bass player. So your first finger is going to be sliding around. We're kind of taking the positional thing that we just established, like with the pentatonic scale that we just learned, sort of throwing it out the window for this kind of a riffage, really is what this is. So we're going to play 3rd fret on the 6th string, and all these notes actually will be on the 6th string. So we're going to play 3rd fret, 6th fret, and then 8th fret. The next part is going to be 3rd fret, 6th fret, 9th fret, back to 8th fret. Then the last part, 3, 6, 8, back to 6, and then 3. So you can kind of think of it as 3 different, almost maybe musical words that we combine together to put together to create like a musical sentence. So it might be a good idea just to practice, let's say maybe the first part. So 3, 6, 8. Just play that a couple times over. Remember, get used to using those dots on the neck of your guitar. I don't want you to be counting up to find the frets. You want to be looking down and thinking, okay, first dot is 3. This is 5, so plus 1 is 6. This is 7, so plus 1 is 8. Or maybe if you're on 6, plus 2 is 8. You know, however you want to think about it. But you want to be using the dots to navigate the neck of your guitar. You don't want to be, you know, kind of counting around. So you can maybe play that first part a bunch of times. 3, 6, 8. And maybe do it again. One more time. You know, whatever, till you start to feel comfortable. Then that next part was 3, 6, 9, 8. So play that twice. Then the last part, which was 3, 6, 8, then 6 and 3. So you got 3 phrases. That's like the first one, the second one, and then the third one. The next part, to make this sound bigger and cooler, is to add in your 3rd finger. And basically what we're building here is what we affectionately call a power chord. And the reason why it's called a power chord is because if you're playing on, like, especially an electric guitar, I'm on acoustic right now, but if you're playing an electric guitar and you've got distortion on, this chord is consonant. In other words, there's not any dissonance built into it because it's made of a perfect 5th. And that just makes the distortion sound really cool. So the trick here is you're going to just basically have your 3rd finger coming along for the ride the whole time. So this guy is always 2 frets higher than your 1st finger and on the next string higher. Common problem or common mistake I see some of my students come in, they put the same finger, or they put the fingers on the same string rather. So make sure you're covering the 6th string with your 1st finger and then the 5th string with your 3rd finger. And that's going to make our shape. Now with the picking, just hit down on all of these chords. You don't have to bother trying to do any strumming or anything yet. It's simpler than that. You can just hit all of them with downs. If you happen to whack it and you get kind of some open strings ringing out, that's okay. I'm controlling them with some muting with my 1st finger, and that's a little more advanced. For this, you just basically worry about getting those 2 notes to ring out, and everything else you can kind of clean up along the way. So that means if we played 3rd fret for like the first phrase, it was 3, 6, 8. That means this one is going to be on just 2 frets higher. So 3 and 5, 6 and 8, 8 and 10. And that makes up our power chord shape. So I'll play through the whole thing again, except this time I'll do each little phrase. So that's the first part, 3, 6, 8. Then the next one. That was 3, 6, 9, 8, and then the last one. Or 3, 6, 8, 6, 3. Now I'm just saying where my first finger is moving around because that's kind of the way that I think about it, or really the way you should be thinking about it, is we're basically moving around and finding different notes off of the 6th string, and that's what makes the chord what the chord is called. We're going to talk more about that and note names in a couple videos coming up. So for now, just focus on your first finger and just make sure that the 3rd finger is always 2 frets higher. Now if you also notice, as I slide around, my 3rd finger, well, both the fingers are staying in the sweet spot that we talked about in the first kind of lesson with your basic form. So make sure that it's in the higher part of each fret. So this is definitely a really tricky thing to do because the frets get a little smaller as you move higher, which means your fingers have to come together a little bit closer. As you move back down, you've got to then stretch them back out again. And if you watch my hand, if I don't do that stretching back out, if I kind of hold it the same, well, now this finger's kind of in the middle. And a lot of times, especially beginning guitar players, this is where that buzz will start to come in. This one, it might look like it's really close to being in the right spot, but with the same amount of pressure, if I just put it here, and that note rings out clean. So if you keep working on that, keep trying to put your fingers in the correct spots inside the frets, it's going to make a huge difference. It's going to mean you don't have to press as hard, which will mean that your fingers won't hurt as much. So that is another sort of added bonus. It'll sound better and it'll hurt less. So I'll play through it again one more time. Great, hope you enjoyed the lesson, and feel free to hit like if you did, and hit subscribe if you'd like to see more videos. Also feel free to peruse around our site, or our channel rather, and check out some videos of our original music that we have. Bye.